You're listening to Liberty Lampoon, episode number 14, with Aaron and Michael, as well as a special guest, host of Liberty Under Attack, and now a co-host on the Freedom Feens. Shane Radliff is here. You're listening to Liberty Lampoon, where we lambaste politicians, public figures, policies, and print, all from a libertarian perspective. This week, we got Shane Radliff. Shane Radliff of Liberty Under Attack Radio is here. Right, Michael? Huh?
Yay, Shane Radliff.
Yeah, and you actually made this interview. I'm so happy about that.
Yeah, I was there to contribute.
Yeah. We should use the word contribute lightly, though, right?
Such a dick, God.
It's a light. It's light. It's fluffing. You know. You added a.
See,
light
you're
fluffing.
You're more interested in his work. I was more interested in his personal life, but you know.
Yeah, you're like, what are you doing?
I think it evens out the interview rather well. So we'll see. We'll let the audience be the judge of that, though.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Okay, so anyways, let's go ahead and jump into our first topic of the day. I really wanted to talk about, Michael, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. So you've been wanting to bring up this whole electoral college thing, right?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so clearly there's, the left is really losing their ever-loving minds about this, about the Electoral College, like it didn't exist for the past, 250 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're taking to the streets. They're really mad. This has happened twice in recent memory to them where, somebody wins the Electoral College that isn't their choice, and but they don't win the popular vote, and that's infuriating. Wow, infuriating.
Infuriating.
Yeah, it's like infuriating, but even worse. Like they're even more angry. Trashing the streets. Although the majority of them they're not violent. I mean, just forget about the whole rape Melania signs. Just forget about all that. But moving on. So what's going through your head, Michael?
Well, my biggest beef with the Electoral College, well, not with the Electoral College, but the people criticizing the Electoral College, is that they're acting like it's a new thing, and that somehow their votes didn't matter, as if they mattered before in some way, shape, or form. And they still, people are crying and rioting, and they still don't get the fact that we don't live in a democracy. We live in a republic.
We live in a constitutional republic, yes.
Yes, and they still, even after all this, said and done, and the whole Electoral College thing, even if they did away with the Electoral College, it would still be a republic, because other than voting for the president, if we did a majority vote type thing, which in my opinion would be completely awful, even worse than the Electoral College, but even if we did. In what other instance does, other than at the local level, I think, at your city level, does your vote actually count, as an individual vote cast?
Well, and besides that, there's a whole nother layer on this. They're angry about Donald Trump winning the Electoral College, right? That's what they're angry about. They're like, okay, well, he didn't win the popular vote, so not my president. But the point is that he campaigned to win states, right?
That's the whole thing. They failed to realize that both Trump and Hillary together were competing to win according to the Electoral College.
Right.
They didn't give a shit. Neither one of them gave a shit about popular votes. Not even Gary Johnson or Jill Stein. They don't care about popular votes because they know they're not going to win. They just need to get enough votes in certain areas to win delegates or to win votes in the Electoral College. And they all are playing the same game. And Hillary knew it, and Trump knew it, and Trump just happened to play the game better, and Hillary lost, and now the left is in an uproar, and she had more votes. It doesn't matter. The vote number doesn't matter.
Yeah, it literally means shit. And like it might. The thing is, it's really shitty to go and look at places like I think Vox is one of them, or these news sites that in 2015 were putting out articles saying why the Electoral College is so good, and then the same exact freaking writer takes to the site to write an article about why it should be abolished now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and they're making. Look, if you have a problem with the Electoral College, and you've always had a problem with the Electoral College, just keep in mind that's how every president has ever won. That is literally how they've all won. And quite frankly, the Electoral College is just as old as voting period in this country. Okay.
Yep.
So if you're saying it's outdated, well, so is voting. Like 100%.
So is the Constitution.
Yeah.
So is the way. So is the way we elect every other official in the federal government, except for your state senators. The states used to elect the senators from the state legislatures, and now they do that by popular votes in the given districts. So
right,
but then even still, after you elect that senator, once he gets into office, he doesn't have to give a shit about your opinion on anything. He can vote however he chooses on any given bill or any given subject that pops up in Congress.
Well, and another thing, all of this is really kind of meaningless to me in a way, But if you want to look at it, if you want to try to understand it better, I think that the best way to look at it is this. The reason why I've said this before, we don't have a national election. We've never had a national election. Oh my God. Okay. We've never had a national election. We've always had election by the states. Each state elects the president in a different way. Is that not true, Michael?
That is accurate. Yeah, voting laws and
electoral college laws, all of them.
It's all different from state to state.
It is all different from state to state. As long as you have states, it's going to be that way. We have never had a actual national election. Okay, they just don't exist. It's not real. They say, when people take these national polls, that's why I always say the national polls are kind of BS because we don't have national elections. Our votes aren't going to Washington, D.C. to be counted. They're getting counted the way in the districts that we live in our respective states, right? So that means that there's two people, well, there's four, but there's two people battling over, Iowa, Oklahoma, California. Okay, so why do you think Donald Trump didn't really go to California? It's because he can't win California. There you go. There's no point in him going to California when he knows that it's going to go to Hillary, right? So he spends his time in places like Michigan and Wisconsin.
And Ohio, and Pennsylvania.
Right. This is
all the other swing states he won.
Right. This is the idea that I heard. I think this is the best one. I think you would agree with me. I heard it from Tom Woods, full disclosure. So, I mean, you can think whatever you want to think about Tom Woods, but I think that this is probably the best explanation I've heard. So let's say the Indians, like we're relating this to the World Series, the Indians and the Cubs, right? Let's say the Indians won the first two games 8-1, right? So they won one, 8-1, and then they won the second one 8-1. So now they have 16 points total to the Cubs 2 points total. Then the Cubs win the next 3 games 2-1. So the Cubs have 8 points total now, and the Indians have 19 points total. So should the Indians then stand up in this situation and say, this is not fair. We have more points. We clearly got 19 points. That puts us ahead of the Cubs. We are the true winners of the World Series.
Runs. I think you mean runs.
Runs, yeah.
Yeah.
Points, whatever. It doesn't, whatever.
Runs.
It doesn't matter.
It's runs. It's not points. It's runs.
I've got the runs.
Oh,
Indians
Aaron doesn't appreciate baseball, folks.
Yeah. Well, the reason the Indians have the runs is because the oil got out of the pipeline and went into their water supply.
Oh,
yeah.
Anyways,
topical.
So yeah, I get what you're saying. So like even though the Cubs won the World Series by winning a majority of the individual games, the Indians scored more points, and that is like the equivalent of Hillary achieving more individual votes, but Trump winning the states because he won where it counted.
Right. Exactly.
Yes. And I completely agree. It's a good analogy. If you want to change the Electoral College, because you're not going to be able to abolish it. I don't know why people think they're going to be able to, but you're not going to be able to, because anytime a party is in favor of it, it's because they're winning because of the Electoral College, right? Yeah.
It's a nationalist idea to abolish the Electoral College.
Yeah, and if people really wanted to change the Electoral College, they would have to change it at their state level.
Yep. And you can. It's been done. There are states that actually fine electors for voting against the person that the people wanted them to vote for.
Yep. And
really, what do you get? I can't even believe that I don't know if you know this. There's a petition going around begging electors to select Hillary Clinton instead, and that was started by a libertarian. That petition was started by an actual libertarian. Starchild is his name. I think he's out of California. So
doubt it's going to happen. But anyways, yeah,
it's not.
And because and it all depends state to state, because in some states, it's winner take all. In other states, they get, based off the percentage of the popular vote they get a certain number of delegates. And so, I mean, if you're a listener and you happen to vote for Hillary and you're not riding in Portland, but you're still upset about the Electoral College, try to change it at your state level, because trying to change it nationally is probably near next to impossible, I would say. But, Oh, and another thing, I was listening to Part of the Problem podcast yesterday, and Dave Smith, he's hilarious, but he was pointing out, he made the point that that even like people are talking about, going back to the point that we're a republic, not a democracy. If you go back and look to like even at the founding of the country, who was given the right to vote, white, male, and you had to own property. Like there wasn't, even at the founding of our country, there wasn't the idea of one man, one vote was not even a forethought. Well, it wasn't even in the back of the minds of any of the founders. And so, if they didn't intend for us to be a republic, then
yeah. Well, I saw like a video of a dude. He was like in Rome or something, talking about how he stands in the place where the greatest democracy, the strongest democracy the world has ever seen, once stood, and how he's so upset about the Electoral College and all this stuff, and I'm like, it's ironic that he's saying like this is where the strongest democracy once stood, and it's fucking gone. Like it collapsed. It failed. Like there's a reason that it failed. Look, it sounds like we're saying like, oh, we love the Electoral College. That's not really what we're saying, really.
No.
What we're saying is that when you're especially when you're dealing with a system like this, it's not necessarily a bad thing compared to mob rule, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Because
yeah.
Because you would never, ever see like Trump Trump would never ever come to Oklahoma ever again. He has no reason to come to Oklahoma. If there's no point in catering to places where you know that you can't win those people, but at the same or that you're going to win those people, I should say. Yeah. Because he would be trying to get the people in California. He would be trying to get it would be complete mob rule. There would be these small little territories deciding the entire nation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you see these maps floating around Facebook and Twitter and all these other socials, so that like they're the county maps of the country, and it shows how few counties Hillary actually won, but she had a majority of the vote because a large majority of the population live in those specific counties, like Southern California, New York, all these other places.
Really, it's small. It's small populations that are actually deciding who is the president anyways. The way that you should really look at it is, I mean, really the only thing that really truly matters is what's going on in your hometown. I mean,
and those counties that Hillary won, those would be the only areas that presidential candidates would campaign in, because they'd be, if we went by popular vote, they'd be the only counties that actually counted, because there's so many people in those areas. And so I heard an interesting thought earlier this week talking with someone that theoretically, if you live in like a more rural place, like South Dakota or any of the Dakotas, a state like that, like that's just more rural than anything, the fewer people that live in that county, the more their vote counts than someone's vote who lives in like LA or New York.
Wow. It's just it's just like a real, I've made this point several times, but if the president is that bad of a position, if they have that much power, maybe it's time we abolish it, and really the whole system to get them elected. I mean, it's already bad. Why make it worse by removing some of the protections that were actually decent?
Yeah, and I posed the point to someone, the same people that brought up that power of the vote depending on where you live. I brought up the point that, you know what, and I think we've discussed it before, that on the podcast, that like people are upset that people voted for Trump because they didn't want a person like Hillary to have the power of the presidency, or the power that is associated with the presidency. And people voted for Hillary because they didn't want someone like Trump to have the power associated with the presidency. And within our lifetime, under the last two administrations, the power of the president, the executive power, who's supposed to be one tier of a three-tier system, their power has grown substantially.
Huge.
Yeah, and it's just massive now, and no one has stopped to ask why, instead of being upset that Trump won the election or upset that Hillary lost the election, no one has stopped to ask, okay, why does an individual person have this much power, period?
Yep.
And I don't know, I felt enlightened when that thought crossed my mind. But
we've gone way over on this segment.
Damn.
We've gone way, way over on this segment.
Well, I hope you felt the rush of liberty just
flood
your mind.
All of your holes.
Yeah.
If you're tuning into this broadcast, freedom is obviously important to you. But unfortunately, whatever small fraction of freedom you have left is disappearing rapidly as leviathanic governments continue to pass law after law restricting your natural right to your person and property. You also know that freedom can't be won through the slave suggestion system known as politics. Things can seem hopeless, but freedom is more possible than you realize. Liberty Under Attack presents the Direct Action Series, your guide to finding freedom now without asking for permission. It includes over 40 hours of pure solutions presented to you in an advertisement-free format with bonus content. You can get your copy of the Direct Action Series for only $10. And, while supplies last, you'll receive an LUA Voluntarist koozie for simply supporting LUA. What are you waiting for? Visit libertyunderattack.com/freedom now to secure your copy today. Again, libertyunderattack.com/freedom now. And make sure to tune in to LUA Radio Live at 7 p.m. Central every Thursday and Sunday on the Freedom Phalanx Radio Network.
All right, we are joined by Shane Radliff of Liberty Under Attack.
Shane Radliff.
Oh, okay, Michael, you didn't actually have to do that.
Just trying to put emphasis on it, make it a big deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Shane, I'm so sorry. He likes to echo people for some reason.
Echo people.
Yeah, he thinks that's what happens on podcasts.
Sounds so cool.
Anyways, so yeah, you're from Liberty Under Attack, and you got this direct action series, which is what I really kind of want to talk about. But first, I noticed something. I watched your live broadcast last night.
Okay.
And I noticed that you were vaping on something. And
Oh yeah, yeah.
I myself do also as well vape, and Jeremy from our last episode, he also vapes, but Michael, he doesn't.
I smoke when I get completely shit faced, but that's few and far between. So
Yeah. Or you just he also likes to pick up cigars and they break off and he just carries them around broken in his lips.
that was a cigar. Oh no, I guess that was a cigar. That was one time like 10 years ago, Aaron. Let it go, bro.
Yeah, let's get back to I was just going to say, Michael, you're not cool. You're not in the cool crowd. All of our first guests all vape and you are not willing to put awesome chemicals into your body like us.
I believe it. I believe in liberty, Aaron, so you can't force me to.
Yeah, I'm not. Okay. Anyways, so Michael Square. A couple of I also heard you do this it was a great debate last night, by the way. And I didn't even think of this, but you were saying that one of the things of direct action is actually peaceful parenting. And that just got me interested in what all else would be in with that, right? I had this this thought that would direct action for getting free. Basically the idea is getting freedom, right? I mean, could you explain a little bit about it?
Yeah. So the direct action series was actually the second step in a process. We began with something called the Freedom Umbrella of Direct Action, and pretty much what that is it's actually from we kind of took some inspiration from Albert J. Nock's book Our Enemy of the State, and he had there's the political means and the economic means, and obviously the political means is the uncompensated appropriation of wealth by others, and the economic means are it's just the production and exchange of wealth. So all the stuff free market. Right. So we obviously are all very well aware of the political means like voting, running for office, etc. But I hadn't seen a project that actually tried to lay out all of the economic means, or in other words, direct action. So we laid out the Freedom Umbrella of Direct Action, and it's almost 100 different solutions. Potential solutions in finding freedom now without asking for permission. So we had this really long list, and to be honest, I didn't know what some of them were, and for some other ones, I had a superficial understanding to where I wouldn't be able to actually implement those in my life. So the direct action series was a subsequent step to that, where we actually went and found people that specialized in those methods of direct action, and we interviewed them. And I mean, for example, we had Jake DeSillis on. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him from the Voluntary Life podcast. To discuss financial independence and early retirement, which was really, really fun. It's not the financial independence that you hear in mainstream circles. This is intensive saving through ages 20 to 30, and then retiring when you're 40 or something along those lines,
wow.
And then just living off of passive income streams and things. So that was one of the most fascinating ones. But I mean, another one of the most fascinating interviews was Pete Sisko, who's actually a perpetual traveler, and he moves every 90 days to different countries, and all him and his wife have to their name is just a suitcase. I mean, those are just a couple of things. But a lot of different sections on there. Philosophy, which would just be, I guess, 3 Questions to Anarchy, which is something that Cal Molinay promotes. Strategic withdrawal is another one, canceling the voter registration, which is something I really heavily promote.
Oh yeah, that's what that's one of the things that really drew me in, and I like anytime. I have not done it yet, but I will say that it's really fun if you have a lot of status friends. It's really fun to post that whenever somebody says something negative about a politician or something, you can just slap that in the comment section on their Facebook page, and they're like, no, we vote, go out there and vote. Like, here's your cancel. Anyways.
Yeah, well, no, that's definitely true, and I try to not to get into fascist book debates now, so I'll just go through like obviously some of my statist fascist book friends, and they post something about voting. I'll just post that in there to unfollow the post because a hellstorm's gonna break loose there on that post. So yeah, it's always fun to do though, definitely.
Right. What's that called? Like drive-by Facebook anarchy? Are we going to call it that?
There's probably a good term for it.
Yeah. You just drop it and walk away,
Yep.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. We'll have to ponder that one.
Now, that perpetual travel thing, I think that I've heard people talk about that in the aspect of they're saying that it's like you're trying to get away from, like, it's the best way to avoid like the state, kind of like I forgot who I heard talking about it. Maybe it's the same guy even. I swear it was on Free Talk Live or something like that, where they were talking about how, or maybe it was, did you do it? If you did it live, I might have heard it from on your show.
I pre-recorded the interview and then it did play live on the air. But yeah, that's one of the most appealing things about perpetual traveling, and this is what it's just really hard for some people. Some people have ties to their country or their state or whatever it is, but something that he kind of touted as being like the most significant is when you move every 90 days, no country can lay claim to anything that you own because you're kind of countryless. Right. So obviously you kind of save some extortion. You kind of save yourself from some extortion on that front. And another thing, and this relates very, very well to what just happened a few days ago, when you're only in a country for 90 days or thereabouts, you really don't care about the politics because you're going to be moving. You're going to be moving pretty quick anyways. So a lot of time, effort, and energy saved not having to worry about that sideshow circus.
Right. Generally something that me and Michael have done, and we can attest, Michael can attest to this since he's not really being very talkative.
Possibly. I mean, wait, hear what you say.
We've done is we tell people, there's ways to avoid sales tax in our home state, buying online. If you buy through Amazon, actually, the state actually requires you to report that you bought things there and then pay sales tax at the end of the year on all that stuff. But
they have no way of tracking that,
right?
At least not currently.
And nobody does it. I mean, really, nobody does. And then they blame budget shortfalls on that. you know,
of course, yeah.
As opposed to their inability to govern,
or really do anything right.
Yeah, but maybe budget.
Yeah, would you think that is a form of direct action there? Avoiding coercion in a small way?
Yeah, I would say so. That'd be practicing counter economics. It'd be I think it's white markets and agorism. So yeah, that'd be similar to me having a garage sale. So let's say, and the money I make from that, not reporting it on taxes. Or I guess another example is if buy something off Craigslist or sell something on Craigslist and then not report that on taxes. So yeah, I mean that's definitely counter economics. It's definitely direct action. Yeah.
So, I mean, you have to have, you have goals with this, right? I mean, the goal is for people to find freedom, right? But what I'm wondering is how much of this direct action series do you think, like you said, not everybody can move around every 90 days, right? But for a normal guy like me or Michael, I assume you guys are both. Yeah, Michael's in college. I think that you've said that you're in college, right?
Correct. Yeah.
What are some of the ways that this is that we right here just in our own lives? What are some of the really good ones that you think? I mean, obviously we covered the voting thing and revoking your voter registration, but do you have any really simple things that you can do to get freedom?
Oh yeah, definitely. So I guess something that's really, and I guess, and this everyone's seen direct action. I think everyone participates in direct action too, most probably unknowingly. But I mean, culture jamming. Remember the taxation is theft thing that like got it
Oh
trending on
yeah,
Google a couple of months back? That's culture jamming.
right.
That's something that everyone pretty much does in the Liberty community. So that's one thing that people already do, and I think that's one of the most effective ways is through humor, which is kind of what your guys' show is centered around. I
Yeah.
think that's fantastic. Other than that, I mean, there's something called security culture, which is just it's the application of the right to privacy. So this would be things like encryption, encryption, whether that be PGP for email or like Jitsi for VoIP calls, like what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
That's actually a lot easier to do than most people think. Let me see. Survivalism. I mean, just having some food storage. I mean, and not in the doom porn way, like the world's getting end in 2012. We got to prep. No, you just it's always a good idea to have some food stored and things of that nature. That's something that most everyone can do. Let's see. What else? What else?
Like Bitcoin, maybe?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Definitely. So, yeah. Cryptocurrencies. Yeah. Anyone can use cryptocurrencies, and that actually isn't as hard as you think either. Because I just got into that pretty heavy in the past month with no understanding. So,
Michael got into it too, didn't you, Michael?
Yeah, I downloaded an app and Aaron sent me some Bitcoin. Bitcoin, yeah. Bipcot Bitcoin.
Right.
So.
Yeah, the
I have no clue how that works.
He has no clue at all. He just knows that he has some, and I told him that like once he has some, he can call himself a real anarchist.
Yeah.
But I guess not.
That's
I mean, everybody. I know people who are statists who use Bitcoin. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, whether it's for just whether it's a substitution for like Federal Reserve notes, or if it's just like what I'm messing around with a couple smaller cryptocurrencies just to see if I can make any money off of it. It's kind of an investment too. So
yeah,
we'll see how that kind of plays out.
Yeah, like I know Monero got big there for a while, but anyways, yeah, those things sound great. I mean, those are things that a lot of us participate in. Like already, especially like encryption. I think that's one that I definitely participate in, and it's fun because I always joke around that like, oh, I gotta send this to you over. Oh, I can't remember the name of that app. I have it on my phone somewhere, but it's like a messaging app. Yeah, that's it. And like I'm like, okay, so I got to send this to you. I don't have to send it over anything. It doesn't need to be encrypted. I just do it every now and then just for shits and giggles, And I joke around and say like, oh, the NSA is watching. Well, they are watching, but it's just, I don't know. I think that people take these things for granted, take the idea of, counter economics or even just little things like encryption and Bitcoin. I think people take it for granted. And I think it's great that you're talking about it, But
and I guess just one point on counter economics, and this is so everyone pretty much practices counter economics, but not everyone practices agorism. Agorism is the conscious application of counter economics. So I guess what we're kind of trying to do with the direct action series is show people real solutions outside of politics and show them that there's so many different ways that you can find freedom now, and with as many possibilities that are on this list and stuff that we discussed in the direct action series. I mean, there's stuff on there for everybody. So just because you can't perpetually travel does not therefore mean you can't practice counter economics. Just because you can't retire at age 40 doesn't mean you can't invest in some gold and silver cryptocurrencies or whatever other item of direct action there is. So it's a lot more practical than people think.
That's awesome.
And if someone wanted to like kind of just dive in and like
definitely
see kind of already what you've put out there, like into the universe already, where could they go to find that stuff?
So if you go to libertyunderattack.com/FUDA, that's FUD as in dog A. Again, libertyunderattack.com. /FUDA. You can find that entire list there for the direct action series. I do have you can get all of our archives for free. We don't put anything behind a paywall. So if you go to libertyunderattack.com /listen-live, that's where you'll find all the archives. And it started January 3rd and ended sometime in June. I can get to those specific dates. But yeah, all of our archives are free, but I do have the direct action series for sale, and I cut out all of the advertisements and the fluff. But yeah, you can get it for free. Start on January 3rd and just go forward, and you can find the entire series. So
cool. Awesome. So if you're listening right now and you're interested, go definitely check it out.
Yeah, no, but don't leave this podcast just yet.
Yeah. Listen to the end of the podcast and then go check it out. But
we haven't even gotten to the dick jokes yet.
Yeah. And anyways, well, they're coming.
This episode of Liberty Lampoon is brought to you by Liberty Maniacs. Go to libertylampoon.com/shop, click the middle link down, and that is Liberty Maniacs. They've got such cool stuff. You can get a Taxation is Theft shirt, and I know that I've brought this up before, but it is my favorite shirt. I love wearing it around. It stirs up conversations with statists because they can't stand the idea that taxation is theft, even though it totally is. So go check that out. I highly recommend it. And, I've got a whole bunch of other shirts. I've got Bernie as my comrade. It's him next to a whole bunch of communist dictators. I've got V is for voluntary because I love me some Lysander Spooner. You should check out some of his writings. But yeah, it's great source for your Liberty merch. And, they make fun of people. It's just like Liberty Lampoon, except for you're getting a product. You're getting an actual piece of cloth or, coffee mug. You name it. They've got a whole bunch of stuff. Go check them out today. libertylampoon.com/shop. That's libertylampoon.com/shop, and click the middle link down and go search anything you want and buy it, and we get a little bit of a cut. Do it now, or don't, but do it. We recommend it.
So Shane, so Aaron and I were relatively new to the whole liberty ideals and libertarianism and everything. And actually, Aaron started to get into it first, and then when he'd discover new stuff, he'd question my ideas, and I'm like, well, wait, that's not freedom, and. So we're both relatively new to this whole thing. How did you get into into libertarianism and liberty mind?
Yeah, this is a reverse interview, Shane. This is
that's perfectly fine. I like the switching up. Yeah. So I guess it kind of started when I was 19. So I don't know, 5 years ago, and I started kind of as a conspiracist. So I looked into a lot of different conspiracies. 9/11 was the first one. I've definitely gotten out of that now because I don't see any practical use of it.
Infowars.com.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah, I just don't see that it has that much of a role in freedom. Even if the government, even if you do find out the government's responsible for these things, I don't think anyone would care anyways. So I got away from that, and I was a constitutionalist for a couple of years. So I talked a lot about the Constitution. And then it was probably that kind of continued until December of 2014, a couple months before I started the show, and I got in a Sovereign Citizen group, and I don't know if you're familiar with those folks.
Yeah.
The ones that like to use magic words in courts and file liens on judges' houses and things. Yeah, the people that end up in prison because they're retarded
or killed.
Yeah, I was
killed.
Yeah, or killed. Yeah. Some of them have died. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, for about 6 months, I was one of those folks. And then I saw the error in my ways and left that group.
Didn't want to die.
No, I didn't want to get tossed in a rape cage either. So it worked out well. And then there were just a couple of months there where I was kind of without a label. I kind of getting away from the constitutionalism, but I didn't like anarchy because I was like, I don't trust people, so how could I possibly trust people without government? That'd be chaos. And then I kind of obviously I started associating with some anarchists, and they weren't crazy, and they made a whole lot of sense. So it took about a couple months after I started the show where I really kind of went headfirst into the deep end in anarchism, and started reading a lot and listening to a lot of podcasts and things of that nature. And that is kind of how I got to where I am today.
That's awesome, dude. That's
really awesome.
That's a pretty good journey there. And now, like, as far as sovereign citizens go, I've been noticing, you may or may not be getting beef with them, it seems like. Well, maybe I shouldn't say beef. You just present superior arguments and they get butt hurt, right?
Yeah. So there were a couple instances there. So now there are 3 LU Radio special editions on the subject. So we probably talked about this. We probably rebuked their arguments for about 5 or 6 hours on the radio. So just very, very in depth. This wasn't just kind of mischaracterization or just I don't know. We went through a bunch of different the sovereign citizen ideology is broken up into 10 different ideologies. It's a complete mess. So we had a couple, one in May, one in June, and then just in the past couple of weeks, they have this. So if you go to the Cancel Your Voter Registration page, you'll notice that I went through and found the legal citations for the legal process for cancellation in 38 or 39 states, and they all tell you different ways to do it. They word it differently. What you have to have on the letter. Some provide you forms for cancellation, and one sovereign citizen group. They have a boilerplate cancel your voter registration document for all 50 states. And that's not how it works. They think that it's just not how it works. And we went, Kyle Rin and I went through that in excruciating detail for I don't know, an hour and a half or something.
Yeah,
but it's
good. It was good. It was very good. I recommend that episode. But what they like. It was like demanding the federal government or something to revoke their voter registration and
the funniest part is that they claim that voting is a crime. and the worst part about it too is when you actually go to try to understand their ideology and where they're coming from. You go to the website and they say voting is a crime. Buy this book to find out why for $60. It's okay, so even if I make a really good effort, to try to understand it, I can't unless I pay him $60 for that book. So
that's like one of those posts that you see on social media, and it's 7 reasons why Hillary Clinton lost the election. Number 5 will blow your mind, but first we need $60. It's a dumb post that requires you to pay $60, right? So
yeah.
That's fucking stupid, dude.
Yeah, that is true.
But if you want to retire by age 40, hey, not a bad idea.
What?
No,
that's
not
his
at all.
Book. Anyways,
I'm sorry.
It's all good.
So, I was speaking of all these sovereign citizens and stuff. I want to just get into this, just touch on this really quick. So I know that, you've done that episode on why voting is essentially pointless. And I know that I have bailed on voting. Actually, Michael did too this year. But something near and dear. Yeah, no, don't vote. But something near and dear to my heart is what ended up happening with the LP. Bill Weld, Gary Johnson, many others. That any anarchist out there could have told you. It became a political party, right? And so do you think that, your direct action series and actually your show as well, do you think that speaks to those who wanted to change the system from within? Is it a good... Because I'm kind of thinking, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on. I kind of think that this is the good jumping off point, right? These stupid assholes thought that they could change things from within, and they didn't put up libertarians first and foremost. If you consider people who are libertarian to participate in political processes or whatever, they didn't put forth actual libertarians. I mean, Bill Weld basically endorsed Hillary Clinton the week before.
Yeah.
Is the content that you're putting out there? Do you think it's a good jumping off point for people? Is this where it could, we can catch those discontent people?
So I guess first off, I'll make this clear. Back in June of last year, we had an entire week where we just pretty much shit on the Libertarian Party. I call it the Libertarian Party. So the Will Johnson thing just kind of I already went into it and I made up my mind already on that one. But yes, I do think that this is definitely appealing. It's to draw some of these reformists out of politics. Because another one of the major reasons we started the FUTA, the Freedom Umbrella of Direct Action, is essentially because whenever I tell people I didn't vote, or you shouldn't vote, it's pointless. I'm sure you guys have gotten this too. Well, if I don't vote, then what can I do? Well, now there's an entire list that people can go to and actually try out, and there are far more options as far as direct action than there will ever be for the political means. So yeah, I think this could definitely appeal to I guess folks in the anti-libertarian Libertarian Party. I mean, especially after they got so screwed this year.
Right.
I mean, some of them hopefully will get fed up with it and say, "Nope, I'm done. I'm going to cancel the voter registration and I'm going to practice direct action." That's obvious. That would obviously be good. Some redemption.
Yeah, I was actually listening to the Jason Stapleton podcast earlier today, and it was his episode from yesterday, and he was making that point that now, especially with a lot of the liberals who are or registered Democrats who are just totally not happy with the outcome of the election and stuff, now is the time you can come up alongside them while they're sobbing that Hillary lost and be like, well, you know what, and try to bring them to liberty. And
yeah.
I think the Bernie supporters are more conducive to that. I mean, the Hillary people, they're still big. They're still big government, but I mean, I don't know. I think the Bernie supporters would be better because they got royally screwed, just like Ron Paul did in 2012. Yeah. So I think for those folks, they may just say, the whole system's rigged. We can't get our guy in office. We've got to find other solutions. So I think they would actually be more. Although that's already been tried in the past by Rothbard and Sam Conkin. So I don't know if that actually worked. That maybe that's bad advice.
And they might all be ANCOMs by now, and then they're just gone forever. They're just down the rabbit hole forever.
Yeah.
Too
Season
bad.
means of productions and throwing Molotov cocktails. They're lost to the inferno. It's a shame.
Yep.
Anyways, all right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Shane. We'd like to know where people can find you and anything else. Just tell us those internets.
Yeah, definitely. And I appreciate you guys having me on. It was definitely a good time. But yeah, libertyunderattack.com is the website. For right now, we'll continue to be live on the Freedom Phalanx radio network every Thursday and Sunday at 7 p.m. at Central Time. We definitely love to have you, and feel free to give us a call if you are tuning in live. But yeah, if you go to libertyunderattack.com, that's where you can find all of the show archives. And if you listen to after the fact, to the podcast feed, we're on TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, Google Play, iTunes. I think that's all of them. There's just way too many now. But yeah, you can find us find all of our archives there. Just search for Liberty Under Attack Radio. But yeah, I'd really recommend your listeners check out, especially after this election, really consider canceling the voter registration. It's a very, very easy process to do, and I've already done your work for you if you're on one of those 38 states. But I do provide some guidance on the 11 or 12 that I could not find. So to find that, just go to tinyurl.com/cancel voter, and also the Freedom Umbrella of Direct Action, which is libertyunderattack.com/FUDA, and that's FUD as in dog. And then the direct action series as well, which if you just go find our archives, it started on January 3rd, and you can just start listening forward from there. So that's all I got for you guys. Thanks so much for having me on.
Awesome, man. We'll definitely try to get you on again eventually, because I know you're going to come out with even more awesome stuff. So we'll definitely have you on.
I sure hope so. I appreciate it.
You're just starting out, man.
True. Yeah. Yeah. But it'll be almost 2. It's almost 2 years. So yeah. So it's been a while. Yeah.
Thanks for your
February.
service.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you as well. I appreciate it.
Hi, my name is Melissa Zimdars, and I made a list of a whole bunch of different, they're websites that can't be trusted. Most of them are conservative, but there's a few libertarian ones in there, but I think Occupy Democrats fits the mold too, because some of the people who go to Occupy Democrats, they decided to not vote for Hillary. So therefore now you have this list, and it's a good list, and everybody should use it, including Facebook and Google, whenever they decide to block websites that are fake news. And, fake news is a big problem, and I just want to do my part to help. And I think that I'm helping by making sure that voices that can't be trusted they're not actually shown on social media sites. It's not like people can be trusted to self-regulate and figure out on their own if things are fake. It's not like we have Snopes or anything, so I'm just making sure that, we silence these sites and make them harder to find for people, because people need to vote for Hillary, because that way she can win. Oh my God, I'm so happy that you came and interviewed me today. Thank you. I'm Melissa Zimdars. Please go look at my list. FPRN is on there.
So, I don't know if you've heard about this, Michael, but I'm just going to go ahead and bring it out. So, some of the social media sites were finding that turns out that, 24 hours before the election, a whole bunch of fake news stories were trending, okay? Mm-hmm. Meaning that they were getting more clicks and more hits than real news. And so, because their choice dictator didn't get elected, now they're cracking down on fake news. The problem is, who determines what fake news is, right? So this Zimdar chick, which I'm pretty sure that the
free speech must be filed with the federal government.
Yeah, this Zimdar chick, she's a professor of something, probably some bullshit. I don't know. Professors are almost worthless. Anyways, not really.
Well, they can start being worthless after they give me credit for the classes that I need.
Yeah. Oh, so you're not gonna? Okay, I see. Just suck that dick, then, Michael. That's what you're into. Anyways, so this professor, she made this list of quote unquote fake news sites, and one of the people who is hosting our show, plays our show on the radio station, FPRN, is on there. Now, if you've never been to FPRN, people, it's commentary, okay? That's what it is. It's commentary. So it's not news. So why is it in with the fake news? You know what I mean? Like, the Free Thought Project was on there. Liberty Talk FM was on there. Some really good libertarian shows. And then The Blaze was on there, which I think that's a little crazy because it's commentary as well. But a whole bunch of commentary sites were on there, and it's like, okay, so commentary isn't allowed because it's fake news. Well, commentary isn't news, you stupid bitch. God. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, does she watch any major news source?
She probably, I guarantee you, she watches Rachel Maddow every day. She sits at home and watches Rachel Maddow and eats ice cream.
Yeah. I was texting you last night. I watched the Rachel Maddow show last night. That show fucking sucks, dude.
Yeah.
She's awful.
Terrible. She's a bad person.
After really watching that, I was thinking, well, you and I, if we did Liberty Lampoon Live, we could totally get on MSNBC if it was the kind of content they wanted. Like if we just wanted to be liberal fucks, then we totally could.
Yeah, we could. I could easily gear myself to be that.
Yeah.
And but anyways.
Yeah.
Hey, but listen, leftists,
We're not trying to make money.
Don't be freaked out here, okay? We're talking about leftists a lot. We've been talking about leftists a lot. But look,
it's only because they're the biggest titty babies right now. The biggest titty babies. Yeah.
But just you wait. We got things to say. We got impressions to do. Jeff Sessions.
Trump train is coming.
Yeah, Jeff Sessions is in the wings. Mike Pence is in the wings. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
They're all coming on this show, and it's not going to be pretty.
That Trump train is loaded with material for Liberty Lampoon.
Yeah, we just got done reading the story of Sodom and Gomorrah in the Bible, and needless to say, we're going to be implying some of those tactics. Real scorched earth shit. You know what I mean? You're down, Michael, aren't you? Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, we're doing it. Anyways, that's stupid. It's a stupid policy. Look, private companies can do whatever they want. They can censor whoever they want. But don't say that you're all about letting people speak their mind. Don't pretend like you are. And don't be surprised when people leave your service. Just saying.
And this whole, this goes back to this whole liberals being upset that Trump has won thing, because if the government pursues this, and they come up with some type of regulation or department or something to regulate all this shit, all right, depending on who's in power in the government, in the administration, and who's in power in
they make
Congress,
the call, right?
They make the calls, and
this
so
is right. When if you give people the power to regulate free speech, if you give a president the power to regulate free speech because you're like, yes, they're going to silence the people I disagree with. Whenever Donald Trump comes into power, or somebody that you disagree with most of the time, that person has the same power. They have the same power to do whatever the hell they want to you. That's right. Sodom and Gomorrah all up in this bitch. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much.
And we'll definitely see you next week like we always do. But if you would really like to help out the show, please go to iTunes. Give us a good rating and a good review. That'll help a lot.
Yep. And give us a like, give us a share on Facebook, Twitter.
Follow us at Liberty Lampoon.
And you can check us out at our website at libertylampoon.com. And you can see all our socials, listen to all the podcasts, all the new contact us, all the new broadcasting platforms that we are pumping out of into people's ear holes through
Huge
the wavelengths.
thank you to FPRN.
Anyways, thank you so much. This is Michael.
And this is Aaron.
And this has been another fantastic episode of Liberty Lampoon. And remember to be free and go vote.
Don't vote.